Good morning, children. So, today we are going to discuss a very important aspect of this beautiful language that remains core to the structure of the English grammar. That in a sentence, basically, we need three things: subject, verb, and object. There are some sentences where anyway, the subject, verb, and object. So the rule says that the verb will agree with the subject and the subject will agree with the verb. So the question arises that both this subject and object positions are occupied by noun. So we call them as noun 1, this object as noun 2. So these are the three important things: subject, verb, and object for any sentence in English where the subject and object, these two positions, are occupied by nouns. So the same noun which can occupy the position of the subject in one sentence can occupy the position of an object in another sentence. So in this way we can say, Ram, suppose Ram killed Ravana, right? In another sentence, suppose Ravana was the king of Lanka. So in the first sentence, Ram is the doer, Ram is the subject, and Ravana is the object. But in the second sentence, Ravana becomes subject, a genuine subject. So there is no such discrimination that which noun will become subject and which noun will become object. So that means they are free to take any position in the sentence. So we can say that the subject and object are of equal importance. Then why it is so? The question may arise in your mind naturally, that why there is the argument between why the verb will always agree with the subject and the subject will agree with the verb. Why will not the verb agree with the object? So the reason is that there are sentences where there will be only subject and verb. You might have heard the term intransitive verbs. If the verb is transitive, then in case of a transitive verb, if the verb will be transitive, then you will have an object. But if the verb will be intransitive, there will be no object. So that is why the grammarians have framed a rule that will stand for all the sentences. So because there is no sentence possible without subject and without verb. So that is why the grammarians have framed this rule that the verb will agree with the subject and not with the object. Because there are some sentences when we choose an intransitive verb, the sentence is possible without an object. So at that time, if the rule would have been that the verb will agree with object, that will not have been possible now, because the object won't be there, the object will be missing in that sentence. So that is why the grammarians have framed only one rule that will capture all the sentences. So today our topic of discussion is subject verb agreement. Okay. Now when we say subject verb agreement, it means that the subject and verb will agree with each other in person and number, which means that if the subject will be singular, the verb will be singular. Now if we change the verb from singular to plural, immediately the change gets reflected in the subject position. the subject becomes plural automatically. So this is called the subject verb agreement in number. When the subject is singular, the verb will be singular. When you change the subject verb from singular to plural, automatically the subject also becomes plural. The second thing is the subject verb agreement in person, right? When the subject is in first person, that is I or we supply the verb in the root form or the base form. Without any inflectional addition. Right? Similarly, when we have the second person subject, that is you, then also the same thing happens. The root of the verb becomes root form or base form. When we are having third person plural subject, that is they, then we are also having this root form or the base form. But when we are having the third person singular number, he, she, it, or any name, that is the subject is a third person singular number. If you deduct I, we, you and they from the whole list of nouns, whatever is left, that is third person singular number. And when the sentence is in present simple form and the subject is third person singular number, then we are S, ES and IES to the verb, depending on the spelling of the verb. So in this way we discussed briefly that what is called the subject verb agreement in person and in number. Now let us see what happens. Let us discuss the subject verb agreement in number in brief detail. So we got to know that when the subject will be singular, the verb has got to singular. When the subject will be plural, the verb will be plural. So when we come across a sentence, the first thing we have to do is to know whether the subject is in singular form or plural form. Now when we come across these words, each, every, each and every, the subject becomes singular. The presence of these words, each, every, each and every, that makes the subject singular, and hence a singular verb has to be provided. Now, when two nouns are joined, this is case 1. Second case, when two nouns are joined with the help of this conjunction and, N1 and N2 are joined with the help of this conjunction and, the subject becomes plural, and hence a plural verb is to be supplied. But when we say that the subject noun 1 and noun 2 are joined with the help of this conjunction and, then the subject becomes plural. But it is prerequisite that both these nouns should indicate to two different people. But even though two nouns are joined with the help of and if they are indicating, they are referring to the same person, the subject remains singular. Like the principal and secretary. So if you talk about the meaning of these two constructions, meaning remains same because the constituting nouns are same, but there is little difference. In the first case, one article is missing, the principal and secretary, and in the second construction, the principal and the secretary. So when there are two articles are used, that means they refer to two different people, And when there is only one article, they refer to only one person. So in this case, the subject is singular because it is referring to the same person, and it is plural. So hence, accordingly, we will supply the singular verb in the first case and a plural verb in the second case.